Hi, I'm Mike Reagan, Director of Customer Service for Lionel. I'd like to take a few moments today and talk to you about our new LionChief ready-to-run diesel train sets. Regardless of what set you purchased, the contents of the set are pretty much the same. You've got 8 sections of Fast Track 036 curve track. Depending upon the size of the layout printed on the box, you'll either have a 40 by 60 or a 40 by 50 inch track. Basically that's determined by the number of straight sections that come with the set. So in this set, which is a 30208 Santa Fe fast freight set, the layout dimensions are 40 by 60. So it includes 3 10-inch straight tracks and 1 10-inch barrel jack adapter track. And that's for your power supply to plug into. Also included in the set are the different pieces of rolling stock, and you've got your 18 volt DC 1.8 amp wall transformer. This is a DC power supply that supplies power to the track, constant voltage 18 volts, very low voltage though. I mean 18 volts, not enough to cause any harm. DC to the track, train picks up that DC power, operates as it should. It is important to note that this LionChief technology that we have in our train sets will operate on AC as well. So if you have an existing Lionel train set that's powered with an AC transformer, it'll work with that set no problem. The only trick is you need to turn the track power up to 18 volts. So without any further ado, you've got your remote that's matched to the locomotive that comes in the set. And what I mean by matched is it has the road name and the cab number of the locomotive that it controls specifically. So in this case it says Santa Fe 8803. On the locomotive itself you've got Santa Fe, and the road number here on the number boards is 8803. So this remote will only control this locomotive. The remote that comes with your set only controls the locomotive in your set. These are the basic components that come with every LionChief ready-to-run diesel set. So let's go ahead and get started setting it up and get the train running. So before you do anything to get the train running, you need to get the track set up. If you refer to your instruction manual, in there it talks about the different layout configurations that are available with the track that comes in the set. You can of course always add more track and expand the layout to anything your mind can dream up. But for the components in the set, let's talk about that real quick. So the fast track has pins that insert into the rails of the opposite piece of track it's being connected to. Just insert the pins, a little bit of force, wiggle it back and forth, and they snap together. Track pieces hold tight, and you can go ahead and position it on the floor, table, piece of plywood, wherever you want to have the layout set up at. Go ahead and get the track together. So basically 4 curves make up a 180-degree turn. So 4 curves, straights, and then 4 curves to get you your oval. It is important to note though that either when you're operating the train or when you're finished operating the train, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unplug this DC power supply from the track. So the barrel jack just slides into the barrel jack adapter. The red LED will illuminate to tell you that track power is on and you're good to run the train. When you're done operating the train, you're going to want to unplug this. So you're going to want to position this barrel jack adapter track somewhere where it's easy to get to. If you're doing this for Christmas, having this piece behind the tree is going to make life pretty painful. So if you can, position it somewhere where it's close to where the electrical outlet is that this wall transformer will be plugged into, and it'll be real easy to plug and unplug the track power to run the train. So we'll just go ahead and finish setting up the layout here. We're going to go ahead and position this barrel jack adapter track in the front of the layout for video purposes. Okay, got our track set up and ready to take the next step to getting closer to running the train. Now once we have the track assembled, the next step we need to take is to put 3 AAA batteries into the LionChief remote. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver and obviously 3 AAA batteries. So begin by removing the screw on the back of the battery cover. Take the battery cover off. Now if you look inside here, it shows you the orientation of the batteries. It's very important that you only use new batteries and never, ever mix old and new batteries together. So install the batteries, put the cover back on, reinstall the screw, make sure it's tight, and you can check to make sure that the remote is working by flipping on the power switch on the side. Turn it to on, the red LED at the top of the remote will illuminate, providing the throttle, this little wheel here, is in the top dead center position. In this position, the red LED will be solid. As you turn this throttle, either to move forward or to move backwards, the LED will begin to flash. The flashing on that LED is giving you a visual representation of the speed of the locomotive. So as you turn it forward, it starts to blink slowly. We've only turned it a little bit. This will tell you that visually that the locomotive should be moving slow, and the locomotive itself will move slow. As you turn it faster, all the way to the top end, the LED blinks faster. Pretty simple concept. Turn it back up to the center where it's solid, the train is stopped on the layout. One thing you want to be sure of is every time you're done operating the train, you want to make sure you turn this remote off. If you keep it on overnight, it's most likely going to drain the batteries. You'll have to replace them in the morning. So when you're done working the train, running the train, make sure you turn the switch off to save the battery life. Now before we get the train on the track and get it running, I want to take just a moment and talk about this barrel jack adapter track. These tracks come with a small red LED, which is a power indicator lamp. When you take the barrel jack adapter and you plug it into the jack, that red LED illuminates. That tells you that power is currently being applied to the track. When we do this to run the train, as soon as we apply power to the track, if the sounds are in the on position, the sounds will start up immediately. Now the locomotive won't actually go anywhere, but it will start making sound. Until you turn on the remote and give it a command to move, locomotive is going to stay stationary with the sounds playing. Now I mentioned earlier, when you're done operating the train, you're going to want to be sure you come over and unplug this barrel jack completely. This will remove power from the track, and the train will sit there in silence until you're ready to operate it again. Another thing that the barrel jack adapter track is really good for is telling you when you have a short circuit. So if you're running the train around and it derails or it comes off the track, that power indicator lamp will turn off. Let me give you an example. Plug the barrel jack adapter in. The red LED is illuminated. Train's running around and it comes off the track. Shorts out between the center rail and the outside rails. You'll notice that the LED turns off. This is because the circuit breaker inside the power supply turns off. Once you clear the short, put the train back on the track, the LED illuminates to indicate that power is once again being applied to the rails. What we want to do at this point is we want to put the train on the track. Now we're going to do this with the power unplugged. We're going to do that for a reason. One, so you can hear me over the sound of the locomotive. And two, if this is the first time you've put a train on the track, there's probably a good chance that the wheels of the train are going to touch the center rail and the outside rail and create a short. And we just don't need any unnecessary drama. So one thing that you will notice about trains is that all of the wheels have flanges on them. If not all of them, then most all of the wheels will have flanges on them. These flanges are designed to keep the train in between the rails. So all you need to do is make sure that those flanges are in between the rails and place the locomotive on the track. Now if you have it right, you can push the locomotive and you won't hear any clicking sounds. If you get it wrong, you'll hear this sound. That's the sound of the wheel rolling over the ties. That's wrong. and not a good thing for the longevity of your train set. So you want to keep the train on the track. Make sure we don't hear any clicking sound as it's running. And then we're ready to apply power and get the train running. Now, we do want to put the locomotive on first, power up the track, get the remote, get the train running, to verify that we don't have any issues, such as poor track connection, where it's the rail, the pin in the rail is not passing power from one section to the next. If you run into a situation like that, it's really easy to fix. We'll show you that later in the video. But make sure the locomotive goes around, make sure we don't have any obstructions or irregularities in the track. Fast track track system is pretty cool. It's got this built-in road bed, helps keep the track level and stable on all types of surfaces, from very tight fiber carpet to shag carpet to hardwood floors and pretty much everything in between. So let's get the power on and get this train running. Now, as I had mentioned before, as soon as you apply power, the sounds in the train are going to come alive immediately. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but the red LED on the barrel jack adapter track is illuminated. The locomotive's making noise, and the remote is currently off. To control the train, you must first turn the remote on. You can verify that the remote is sending a signal to the locomotive by pressing the horn button. To get the locomotive moving, simply take this silver thumb wheel, turn it towards the forward direction, and the locomotive will start moving. So you want to run the engine around the track a couple times. Again, just to make sure that we've got good continuity throughout the entire layout. Once we've confirmed that the locomotive does make it around the track with no problems, we can go ahead and put the rest of the items from the set on the track. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we unplug the barrel jack adapter so that, again, we don't create any shorts putting the train on the track. Now, as we place the cars on the track, we're going to need to couple them together. One great thing about Lionel trains is the ability to uncouple the cars anywhere on the layout. Every three-rail car, or just about every three-rail car, is equipped with an operating coupler. The way this coupler works is that it has a small, what we call uncoupling plunger on the underside of the coupler. There's a little thumb tab on the side that you can push down. And as you push this down, the knuckle on the coupler springs open. This allows you to couple other cars to the train without having to lift the car up and set it into that coupler opening. Simply put the other car on the track, move them together, give them a slight push to lock those knuckles together, and the cars couple up. We'll do that one more time. Pop the uncoupling plunger, place the other car on the track. This reciprocating car, we can open its coupler, couple it together, and we're good to go. It is worthy of note that you try and couple your cars on straight sections. When you're on the curves, the couplers will have a tendency to misalign with one another, and makes it a little bit more difficult. So if you can couple your cars on a straightaway, definitely suggest you do it. Earlier on in the video, I mentioned something about if the train is running around and all of a sudden it stops, it could be the result of the pins inside the rails not making good contact. That's one possible scenario. Another possible scenario would be a short circuit. So the easiest way to do this with any type of troubleshooting is just basic process of elimination. So the first thing you want to do is you want to check the barrel jack adapter track and make sure that the red LED is illuminated. If it's illuminated, that's a good thing. If it isn't illuminated and the wall transformer is plugged into the outlet in the wall, first thing I would suggest doing is trying another wall outlet, just to verify it's not the transformer. Plug it into a different outlet, the red LED comes on, great. Red LED doesn't come on, it could be the power supply, but it could be something a lot easier than that. Easiest way to do it, process of elimination. Start taking trains off the track one at a time. Keep an eye on that red barrel jack adapter track, or that red LED on the adapter track, and wait to see if it comes on. If after removing all the trains, the light still doesn't come on, next thing you want to do is you want to disconnect the track. So just separate the track in half. Keep an eye on that barrel jack adapter track. If the red LED comes on, that'll tell you that the section of track that you disconnected probably has your problem section in it. A visual inspection is really all that's required. Fast track is pretty simple in its design and construction. On the underside of the track is a small metal bar that connects this outside rail to the opposite outside rail. Maybe you've got a piece of tinsel laying between this ground bar that's on the underside and one of the center rail connector tabs. Anytime the outside rails short against the center rail, that creates a short circuit, which would be a reason for that red LED to turn off. So just pick the track up, visually inspect it, make sure that, like I said, you don't have any tinsel or metal foil or anything that would conduct electricity touching those contacts underneath. If after doing that you don't find any problems, simply reconnect the track one section at a time. Keep an eye on that adapter track. As long as it's illuminated and you plug in sections of track and it doesn't turn off, that means that you've cleared your short circuit once you have the entire loop together. Now, if you do find that you've got a piece of track that's got a problem, just give us a shout at customer service. We'll get a replacement section of track out to you, no problem. If you think the problem is more than that, again, give us a call. Our customer service agents will be happy to walk through the troubleshooting process with you to try and help identify what the problem is and get it rectified immediately. Now, if you experience a problem with your cars coming uncoupled as you run the train, say the couplers just won't stay closed, and the knuckles keep popping open on their own, this is a really super simple fix. Like we mentioned before, all of these cars have what's called a coupler plunger. It's located right here, and it pulls down, pulling a pin down, which releases the knuckle on the coupler. These pieces of plastic that come on these knuckle couplers, that the coupler plunger is made out of, is just injection molded plastic. It's designed to have a slight bend in it. In fact, it comes out of the mold with that bend. But if you experience a problem where your train keeps coming uncoupled, simply take a small pair of pliers into the coupler itself, onto the coupler plunger, and just bend that piece of plastic up just a little bit. Really what you're doing is you're reshaping the plastic so that this pin goes up and pushes into the knuckle better, thus holding the knuckle closed. And that'll solve the problem. At the end of the day, these are simple electromechanical toys. Sometimes little tweaks and changes are required to tweak or improve the performance. Really simple to do, takes all of about 2 or 3 seconds once you have a pair of pliers. Needle nose pliers would be ideal to reach right in underneath the coupler arm, twist up on the coupler plunger, thus putting that pin back up into the knuckle a little bit tighter. You're ready to run the trains again. Now you'll want to refer to the instruction manual that comes with your locomotive. But as we mentioned earlier, LionChief sets don't have volume controls. So in order to turn the background sounds off, or the sounds that play as soon as you apply power to the track, easiest way to do that is to shut the sounds off. To turn the sounds off, you'll need to flip the locomotive over and find the sound on-off switch. Now on this RS3 locomotive, it's located right here, and it's labeled sounds, on and off. Simply move the switch to the off position, place the locomotive back on the track, power it up. The sounds won't come on immediately, however you'll still have full function of the horn, bell, and announcements. If ever you want to turn the sounds back on, simply flip the train over again and move the sounds on-off switch to the on position, place it back on the track, reapply power, sounds will come back on, and it'll operate as it did when you first took it out of the box.